All right, and here we go, and the countdown has begun. We are about a week away, or less than a week away, to the big event happening in Utah, and I am so excited and thrilled to be a part of it because one of the things that was interesting this morning, I was listening to an interview on Club Shay Shay. Shout out to Club Shay Shay. And Terry Crews was talking about his ascension into the entertainment business. And one of the things he said is that opportunities came knocking, but it wasn't until he seized opportunities that he had this jump in his entertainment career. And through seizing opportunities, he met so many great people. He was able to be a part of so many great movies, and now America's Got Talent, a star on the Walk of Fame. And for me, I feel that way going to Utah. I had a great opportunity at ISTE to meet Matt Winters, who is the president of UCET, and we just got a chance to talk. And then we had a chance meeting at the Massachusetts Tech event as well. And someone I incredibly respect and was like, "Do you want to come out?" And I jumped at the chance and seized the opportunity to be a part of this great event, especially as they are combining with the Utah Educational Library and Media Association. So I'm thrilled to talk with Matt and hear all the great things that you have planned for the upcoming week. So Matt, welcome in.
Great to be here, Matt, and thanks for having me. And we're so excited to have you come out and bring Massachusetts to Utah and bring your expertise to the Utah audience. So thank you so much for being willing.
No, I'm really excited about it. And I think, when I saw the program and heard about what you're doing and being a current assistant superintendent, we were a little bit late today because I was doing different things. And I think being engrossed in the work each and every day, I'm excited to share that with some of your team. So as the president, before we get into that, share your journey into where you're at now and really working with the state of Utah and the great work you're doing.
Yeah, in 2018, I had a buddy of mine, Quinn Henderson, shout out Quinn, who said, "Hey, we went to South by Southwest EDU week and was blown away by the conference." And I came back and he's like, "Hey, there's this conference here in Utah called UCET next week. You should come check it out." And I went, "All right, I will
seize the opportunity."
Exactly, come on out and meet people and went out to the conference, and the next year I presented at the conference, and the year after that, the couple days before the closures started happening in 2020, I found out I was elected to the board while I was at my district trying to help out figure out those closures. And so from there, they added me as president the next year, and now we're here. I'm the first two-term president in UCET's history in terms of consecutive. We had two-term that was separated by a few years, but consecutive years, and excited to roll out my last year at the Salt Palace in Salt Lake City with we just found out we're at 2,200 people coming out already, which is very nice.
That's exciting. And what led to the combination of the two organizations coming together?
Well, we had a great person in the state of Utah. Her name's Davina Southoff. She works for Utah State Board of Education as our library media specialist statewide, and she's also the executive director of UELMA. And she and I took a car ride to southern Utah, which for people around the world, if you look at Utah and you go, "Oh, it doesn't seem that far," the car ride from Salt Lake City to where we needed to be was about 6 hours. So we had a lot of time to chat, and that was one way. So we had 12 hours to chat about what we were doing. And I mentioned, I would love to see more librarians come out to a technology event. And she said, "We'd love to have more technologists be aware of what's happening with librarians." And that was fall of 2022. And we just kind of started putting the work in, and we're having both conferences come together and doing some great things, because there's some wonderful overlap between what librarians are doing in the libraries and what we're doing in technology that we could really benefit from each other.
That's great. And you had mentioned, just a minute ago where someone told you about this event and you came out to it and just were really dove right in. For those who've never been, tell us about what this event is.
It's a really special conference. So UCET stands for Utah Coalition for Educational Technology. So we're the ISTE affiliate in the state of Utah. We do a lot with educational technology across the state. We run ed camps all throughout the year. In terms of this event, though, this year's really special. We're moving to a much larger venue for the Salt Palace, which is the largest venue in the state of Utah. But then on top of that, just the amount of people that are coming out from across the country. So we have ISTE coming out and boothing with us and doing sessions. We have Richard Collada speaking on a keynote on day one. But then also, lots and lots of national guests throughout. So Matt Joseph coming out,
Hey,
Carl Hooker, Eric Hertz, Donald M. Miller, great writer from Texas who did the Book Whisperer. Jarrett Lerner, who's a great writer as well I believe he's from the Philly area. Carolyn Foote and Becky Calzada from Texas, and just recently the Stanford Design School is going to be joining us for both days, which is amazing. And so just
that's awesome.
we have so many good guests coming out, but then also the rich amount of people here in Utah. The talent pool is amazing, and so it's very cool for me to see presentations from our rural school districts all the way up to our districts on the Wasatch Front, and having them share anything from what they're doing with artificial intelligence to creativity and technology, leadership. Perhaps my favorite room, though, Matt, I'm just going to give them a shout out, and I'm hoping I can spend at least an hour in this room during the conference. We have the Teacher Fellows, who are an organization through
Yes.
Group, and they'll be joining us both days of conference. These are teachers who are in the classroom currently, who would like to be in better leadership roles across the state, and they'll be presenting all throughout the conference, as well as a couple of our keynote openers. So these aren't the full keynotes, but they open for about 10 minutes. Scott Judy and Lauren Merkley will be speaking to us on day 1 and 2. So lots of great talent across the state of Utah, along with this great talent from across the country and around the world coming in.
Yeah, I had a chance to talk to a few of the fellows on the podcast, and it's been great. Make sure to check out Matt's handle, see all the great things that are happening. I'll have the Utah, both the UCET and UELMA scrolling across the bottom. Check them out as well. And then another person coming up from Texas who will be doing a session with me, Carl Hooker.
Yep.
I'm excited to do the counterpoint, where we kind of play off each other. So I'm looking forward to that on Wednesday. And so another thing that is happening, and a lot of people that I talk to are taking part of it, is you connected with tech and learning events, and you're hosting a tech and learning event. And I think if I'm correct, you're also doing something with Future Ready before the event. So talk about this. You're bringing these groups together to support your educators. So share a little about those.
Yeah, our prior president, Clint Stevens, grabbed me last summer and he said, I think your phrase for this year, for 2024, should be blow it out and just kind of go for it. And I went, okay, if I'm hearing that from him, just go for it. So yeah, we're doing on March 18th, we have in the morning, All for Ed Future Ready Library is doing an event in Canyon School District. It is free and open to the public. We have over, I think at last look, it was around 75 libraries and librarian teams coming out to the event, meeting with Leah Dawson and Shannon McClintock Miller. And it's going to be an incredible event for them, just talking about what it means to be future ready, especially in a library, and working with them. And so it's been great working with them, giving them some space in the Utah community at the conference, inside and outside. And then in the afternoon, we're doing tech and learning at the Leonardo, which I'm very excited about. It's going to be a really fun event with leadership from across the state, our boards in Utah, some of the teacher fellows, and just getting into conversations about design, which I know, Matt, you're going to be running some stuff with that.
Yep.
We've got some stuff talking about AI, some AR, VR, some esports. It's going to be a really fun event, and I'm excited to bring that to our leadership here in the state of Utah.
No, that's great. So I've known a few people who've been a part of running these events. Lori Guion's a great friend of mine, a real in-depth into NISCATE, and many others who've done some state work. Are you going to be able to find some time to enjoy yourself over these 3 days? Because I know you probably carry the weight of making this happen, especially as you are, blowing it up. Did he say? No, he didn't say that. He said blowing it out.
Blow it out.
When you're blowing it out, you have 2 pre-events, you have 2 big events, you have a nighttime event on Tuesday. Are you going to be able to balance that and enjoy this success that you're seeing in this growth with this event?
Yeah, I've set aside a little bit of time for those. So we luckily have great boards in place to do a lot of the check on rooms, make sure things are going smooth, checking with people, solving problems, that sort of thing. So hopefully I'll be able to have more time than I've already planned, but I am going to be running a session with, it's a panel with a few locals, my CEO at Utah Education Network, Spencer Jenkins, Danny Sloan, Jolyn Torgensen, and Scott Judy, but also Richard Collada about educational technology leadership here in the state of Utah. So that's on Tuesday, I believe at 11:30, Tuesday, March 19th. And then I've set aside some time to do this actually. So I've Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. I'm going to be doing podcasting with the president, and doing some guests during that time to come and sit down and just chat about what we're doing at the conference, and save it for some podcasting I'm doing with Utah Education Network after that. So hopefully
Awesome.
I'll have more time than that, but that's at least set aside right there.
Excellent. So as you talk about this great event, what is a special memory you've had at UCET?
There's been a few. 2 years ago, we had a great keynote from a local, Corey Henwood. He's down in Iron School District, and he's going to be speaking this year. Matt definitely recommend to go check him out.
Okay.
He encouraged people to get up and cheer. He's a huge hockey fan. He's from Canada, and he asked people to get up and cheer during his presentation like they were in a hockey game. And I ended up running down the aisles and around the entire venue with a couple of my friends from the board. And that was a really special moment. And Corey was like, that was great because it helped me to get more into the moment. And I think there's a lot of things like that happen at UCET where it's kind of goofy and fun, but we want everyone to have a good time and enjoy themselves. And so like last year, being able to sit down and play board games with Eric Kurtz and Dan Ryder, who's from Maine, and speakers we brought in, and some of the locals, and introducing people to national voices that they don't normally hear from or have to go, well out of the state to conferences like FETC, ISTE, TCEA to hear from, and being able to be the person that pulls these presenters in. In fact, I had a district higher up, a superintendent that I was talking to. He said, I was at FETC and I was watching a presentation by a presenter, and I was so excited, and I was like, why can't we get presenters like this in Utah? And then he came back and looked at UCET website, and it was Eric Kurtz, and he was like, oh, never mind. I'll be able to bring my teachers to see him. And that's one of my favorite moments of any conference I do for UCET is I can bring voices that support best practices to the state of Utah, people like you, Matt, that help people to see what's the best things that they can do in their classrooms.
That's great. So for new presenters and, first-time presenters, and I remember, the first time I presented actually was at MassQ. And for those out there that are watching, I was presenting and Jen Wombolt came walking in the room, and it was the first time I met her and the first time she met me and she saw me present. Fast forward 6 years later, being a featured speaker at FETC, she writes the foreword to my book. So you just never know what's going to happen. And, one of the tips I say to new presenters is, doesn't matter how many people in the room, bring your A game and give it your all, because it doesn't matter if it's one person or a few hundred people, you're going to make an impact. They chose to come in. So respect that choice and give them your best is something that I would share to presenters. What about you as someone who's put on and scheduled these hundreds of sessions? What is a tip that you would give new presenters?
Which, good point on that, Matt. Last year you said we had just over 240 sessions, I believe it was. This year we're almost at 400. So It's grown quite a bit. So we're in 1 year, we've had some extreme growth. For presenters, I would echo everything you just said. You never know who's in the room. Follow up, make connections, have conversations. One of the best advice I've ever gotten is from Dan Ryder, again, from Maine. He once told me, he said, choose conversations over presentations. If there's someone in the room that you would like to have a conversation with, most times, 9 times out of 10, they'll sit down with you and have a chat. And that, you never know where that's going to go. And so that would be my recommendation, both for attendees and for presenters, is give it your all, but also know that it's okay to sit down and have a conversation with somebody that you'd like to sit and chat with. And that can be lead to some really cool places.
That's awesome. And so you've talked a lot about bringing everybody together, increasing the sessions, bringing UCET and UELMA together, bringing, tech and learning and future ready. You talk a lot about this collaboration. So the last question I always ask our guests, and I'm going to, because I know you've been on for the ISTE as one of ISTE's, 20 to watch. So you've answered it as an individual, but as the president of UCET and thinking about this event, what does Stronger Together mean to you?
Well, it's how I love collaboration. I think I've mentioned this before to you. If not, this might be your first time. I grew up in punk world, and I was a little hardcore kid that grew up in the music industry. This is real behind me. It's all CDs from when I was a DJ. And DIY means that you can do it yourself, but also you connect with other people and you support them and support what they are doing to better what you're doing. And so I think bringing in national partners like Tech and Learning and Future Ready Schools and All for Ed, the Stanford Design School, bringing in locals like the Utah STEM Action Center and SpyHop and Utah Education Network, and giving them space and time makes what they're doing stronger, makes what we're doing stronger. And I never want to be a gatekeeper on you can't do something, because that doesn't help anyone. It helps make you look, you know, bigger, I guess, but really it's about everyone sharing and being strong and helping each other out to get to a better place.
Awesome. Well, thanks for waiting for me for a couple of minutes. Thanks for jumping on. If you don't follow Matt, make sure to check out at Teacher Winters, and make sure to check out both UCET and UELMA and see all the great things that are happening. So Matt, we're under a week. I'm going to see you on Sunday. I look forward to it. Have a good week. I know it's going to be busy for you. And I look forward to seeing you Sunday evening in Salt Lake City.
Sounds good, Matt. We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. And for all of you who are watching live or watching on the repeat, make sure to check out all the interviews with the presenters and get excited for UCET UELMA event happening March 19th and 20th in Salt Lake City. Matt, have a great week, and we'll see you Sunday.
Awesome. Thank you.